Testing up. Sorry, I had to test this one. If this game completely glitching, because I don't know, it's your YouTube system and not. Hopefully, you try to just bear with me. So. Let's see, let me start fixing up the back. Moving or not. It's not. Me. Alright, shall we?
William, I can't stand it anymore.
This creature is bedeviled. I must put it down.
Alright, here we go again.
By George and the Saints, you've solved the mystery of these terrible murders. Good fellows, I've come to offer help. Just give me a moment to secure my boat. We can leave this awful place.
William was not the evil man they claimed. He was just taken by the thirst. He needed this drink.
This man requires medical attention. We'll see he gets to the nearest hospital.
No, please, I must tend to my fold. My flock needs me.
Yes, go with the good Dr. Swansea. He's resourceful, and I'm sure he'll take good care of you.
You'd best come as well. The sun is soon to rise, and you'll need a place to rest.
If I can learn something about what has happened at this moment, William, step closer to understanding what happened to me. I'll be... This poor creature can't be my maker. Could it be Baker? Subspecies. I must analyze the blood.
Can't go in.
I cannot enter. It's locked, all right.
So like I said, I'm kind of like so sidetracked from. If you like this video, please comment and like. So let's see what we have here. Whoa. Yvonne and Shadow.
Where are we headed? What manner of creature?
The thing is that he...
And the woman? Was he?
of Pembroke Hospital.
I thought you were here in service of your mysterious order, the Hood of...
Of St. Paul's Stole, yes. But first and foremost, I'm a man of science. A physician, like yourself. Dr. Reed.
How do you know who I am?
No need for modesty. You are Dr. Jonathan Reed, a surgeon of some caliber and renown, if I'm not mistaken.
You are correct, sir.
I knew it! I had my suspicions. But when you took the blood sample from the corpse of poor William, I was certain. Dr. Reed. Marvelous.
Have we met?
I attended 3 of your seminars before the war. I have the utmost admiration for your research. And what a turn of fate. England's most esteemed blood specialist returns to London a vampire.
That word, again. From a so-called man of science.
I understand. Traditionally, the role of science is to refute myth, but when myth walks among us, the Brotherhood of St. Paul has dedicated its purpose to their study. There's so much for you to learn.
Of that, you are right.
Well, then let me be blunt. Join my staff at Pembroke Hospital.
But in any case,
As a
I will be
physician.
trying to record when
I suspect you'll not find a better post of employment to contemplate.
I'm
your
not sure what kind of game I
predicament.
will get to
This
play
is
this
something.
kind of thing.
Affliction.
Call it.
Dr. Reed,
It's
take a rota in the morning. In the meantime, find a surgeon of his talent. If you have any questions, just ask her.
and then work through Pembroke
Thank you.
Hospital.
Your assistance is required, Dr. Swansea,
Welcome
immediately.
aboard, Jonathan. We'll catch up after my rounds.
About
Coming,
what
Nurse
ha-
Crane.
what happened.
I'm coming.
But everybody there will be taking me for I'm not anymore famous surgeon. I must lie them all. New home where I hide all who hide and staying with. I had to. What's this about? You know, the storyline is trying to make sense. What kind of game is? How it played? It almost versions from the.
It's my turn!
Oh shoot!
Rotten life. Drink at this river. Try it all. You think I didn't notice? Stop your staring and get me to an hospital, you arse!
Insulting a good Samaritan. Not exactly the way to get rescued.
Alright, sorry. I am in pain here. My guts are spilling out onto the street and you're yabbering on.
See,
Yes.
quarantine
That's a
is.
very nasty
You will
wound you
tend
got
to
there.
sis.
Take my word, I am a doctor. Dr. Jonathan Reed.
Name's
Drink.
Clay Cox. I'd appreciate you helping me to a better place, Doc.
Follow me, Mr. Cox. Let me assist you to that better place.
Embrace. What did I choose? It says. Alicia.
Bring this fading light into the shadows. Dance with him the dance of life and death.
I gave it base. Yeah. This one.
Such a burden, such a divine sin.
Good evening, nurse. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed, the new surgeon here at the Pembroke.
Dr. Swansea has already told us about you, sir. I'm Nurse Gwyneth Brannigan. Welcome to the Pembroke Hospital.
Did he really? It's a good thing I wasn't hoping to keep a low profile.
All members of staff have already read about your new blood transfusion technique. Dr. Swansea made sure of that.
I see. Well, I'm a little surprised, but I suppose I'll just have to deal with this unexpected notoriety.
You must know, blood transfusions are Dr. Swansea's primary subject of research. He is convinced it is the future.
How are things here?
Not good, to say the least. We're struggling against an invisible enemy, more lethal than any bullet from a gun. It's hard, Doctor.
Do you think this hospital can survive the epidemic?
We are all... Most of them. Dr. Swansea has a gift for recruiting. Come on, I don't have all night.
Doctor, where have you been? I've little time to play hide and seek with new staff members, illustrious they may be.
I apologize, nurse. Some time to myself. Longest changes in the longest.
Delivered poor Miss Stanton from a should be a the me. Reed, your office has been prepared.
I would like to ask a few questions first. And Mr. Hampton, the patient we brought in, how does he fare?
I gave him a sedative to help him sleep. Poor thing was in quite a state of shock.
What kind?
Dr. Swansea is a brilliant surgeon and the most compassionate physician.
It's right to assume Dr. Swansea knows far more about me than I do about him.
You'll get to know him soon enough, and better than me. The administrator has better things to do than mix with us.
If you could point me in the direction of my room again, nurse.
Second floor of the hospital, left after the stairs. It's the last vacant office at the end of the corridor.
Thank you, Nurse Crane. Good evening, sir.
So it is true. The famous Dr. Reed has joined us. I can't think of any better news during these terrible times.
Do we know each other?
Actually, yes. We met
About bypasses. He had nothing but praise. You're exhausting yourself, Corcoran. Maybe you should think about...
we're on healing all those poor souls. We are the last rampart before chaos. Once more unto the breach.
Nurse Brannigan is worried about you, Doctor.
She should not have told you that. I will have a word with her.
You don't have to blame her for her honesty.
I'm not that kind of man, my dear Jonathan. Actually, Nurse Brannigan's opinion is the only one. So good. But during this troubled period, there is no time for slander. I prefer to focus on the positive character traits.
Tell me more about...
Nurse Brannigan is a pearl. She is the most helpful and dedicated nurse I've ever worked with. A clever and cheerful woman.
You really seem to admire her skills.
I'll go even further. If she was a man, she would be a damn fine practitioner.
Any opinion about the management?
I don't always agree with Dr. Swansea's reserve, But I must admit, he does all he can to keep this facility running during this crisis.
Ah, yes, the burden of command. I was fed up with this concept while serving as a medical officer.
Don't get me wrong. Swansea's a good administrator.
Good evening, Nurse Brannigan.
Good evening, Doctor.
How are things here?
Not good, to say the least. We're struggling against an invisible enemy, more lethal than any bullet from a gun. It's hard, Doctor.
Do you think this hospital can survive the epidemic?
We are all volunteers.
I'm not familiar with all the...
Brilliant professor.
most of them.
It would be inappropriate for me to...
Goodbye, nurse. Call me if you need assistance. Dr. Jonathan Reed, new here.
I've already heard.
Jonathan Reed, I'm new here.
I've already heard about you, Dr. Reed. I'm Milton Hook.
So what do you do at the hospital? Apart from smuggling guns, I mean.
I've been an ambulance driver since... too long, I guess. I bring sick people here night and day. It's a dirty job, but I get it done. Most of the time.
It sounds like things have been a bit rough recently. What's happened?
Yesterday I got attacked by the patient I was bringing in. I escaped through the hospital's garden, but I lost my wallet when I was running.
You left an infected patient outside the hospital. That's incredibly dangerous.
Go there yourself if you want, but be careful, Doctor. I'd rather not bring your dead body back. Since too long ago.
I beg your pardon?
What are you begging for, mortal? My clemency? Well, tonight maybe I'm inclined to mercy. You'll never forget the night you met Thelma Howcroft.
You keep calling me mortal. Why is that? And if I'm mortal, what are you?
Well, Dr. Reed, if you must know, I'm a vampire.
And why do you believe you're a vampire?
I don't need to believe anything. It is what I am. It is what I feel within this hollow shell of flesh.
I see. Have you ever heard of Cotard syndrome, Miss Howcroft?
Never.
It's a mental illness discovered by a French neurologist named Jules Cotard. The affected patients are delusional. They believe that they are putrefying, that they are dead, a ghost or a ghoul, or in your case, a vampire.
Sad and immortal. You can't even begin to understand the concept of mortality. And you think that I, who am delusional.
Describe to me how you feel.
I can... Spirit, fog, or bat.
Can you describe?
I'm not speaking of the doctors in white. I'm speaking of the men and women who hunt me. For I am a vampire.
I see. Don't worry. These people will not find you here. I'll personally make sure they leave you alone.
Thank you, mortal. But do...
Oh my god.
I don't think you can help me.
I'm Dr. Reed. I've recently taken...
Me.
I'm Dr.
My pretty right off. By the moans of the dying.
Can I ask you precisely why you're a patient here?
It's the pain, sir. The drugs don't work. It just hurts. The stars, if you get my drift. Smiling inside.
Thing for your pain.
Nurses gave me a bunch of pills. No effect. Told you. It's like the flames are under my skin, burning away.
How close... Miss Hawcroft. Called the Cotard syndrome. Mentally disturbed. It's called the Cotard syndrome. She truly believes she's a vampire.
In her madness, never refers to my scars. And frankly, if I could, I'd join her world. It seems much more fun than the real one.
How close are you to Miss Hawcroft? Are you aware that...
To wait.
Aren't you afraid?
She's quiet.
Where were you stationed, sir? Did you serve for long?
I really don't want to talk about all this shit.
No offense. I was pushing too much. I served in France myself. I just wanted to know what happened to you.
You were an officer, weren't you? Then I doubt we fought the same war, sir. No offense.
Okay, now... Why is...
Goodbye for now, Mr. Good evening, nurse. Reed. Dr. Swansea has recently offered me a position in
winning. And no matter how qualified you are, don't tell me you'll change that.
You'd be surprised what dedication can achieve, Nurse Hawkins. In medicine, sometimes we're just a best result away from a miracle.
Sorry, Doctor. I don't want to sound bitter. I'm hired to give a pep, but I'm just too tired to talk like Nurse Brannigan.
How is the Pembroke staff coping with the epidemic?
Well, not well. Milton, the ambulance driver, is even more grumpy than usual, especially concerning doctors.
Why is Milton grumpy on a daily basis? Is it just an act?
Milton's not the kind of man who's bothered about a bad reputation, whether he deserved it or not.
Why does Milton dislike doctors?
Well, I don't know. Just ask him. But be warned, Milton is not...
How would you describe the situation at the Pembroke Hospital? Nurse Hawkins, the Spanish flu won't attached to Mr. Elwood. By him.
I'm not sure. Anybody?
Would you say you, Elwood, are romantically involved? Perhaps. On what? Do you now, Mr. Elwood? What?
Enthusiasm for hiring what we need orientation, they're here to be healed. You use men to
service. It seems
see this.
I'm not stealing from you, mister. Anyway, things to people who need them more than you. You see, no one has claimed your body, sir, so it would be such a shame to bury you with your valuables. I will not forget you, sir, and I thank you for your generous donation.
good evening. I'm Dr. Reed.
Always a pleasure to meet a colleague, sir. Especially when he was supposedly dead.
A colleague. Are you a doctor too?
Not anymore, sir. I used to be Dr. Rakesh Chadana. Now, I'm just Mr. Chadana, pawnbroker and humble guardian of this morgue.
What do you mean, you used to be a doctor? Was your license revoked?
No, sir. It is just that I like to be precise. I run a little pawn shop while taking care of the dead. But I used to be a real doctor.
Are you afraid or uneasy being surrounded by so many corpses?
Why should I? These bodies are empty vessels. Flesh left to decay. Poof. No soul anymore. All gone.
An interesting point of view. And quite an exotic one, too. Most people fear, or at least have a respect, for dead flesh.
Sir, as a medic during the war, I learned to face my death and the death of others. It's the pain we have to tame, not death itself.
How did you get this job?
After I left the army, I worked as an undertaker down by the docks. A dangerous place with many an unpleasant business there. Milton Hooks helped me get a job here.
Have we met before?
I don't think so, sir. Why?
When we first talked, you said you were glad to meet me since I was reported dead.
Funny story, sir. Your sister came here a few nights ago. You were missing, and she was looking for your body. She must be very relieved now.
Do you work here alone?
Yes, very easy work, sir. All I have to do is watch a few bodies. The situation was very different when the main morgue was still open.
Why do you have to watch these bodies?
Because these poor fellows have no names. We keep them in case someone comes looking for the missing. Sadly, very rarely happens.
Why close the hospital's main morgue?
It was for sanitary reasons after the beginning of the epidemic. Cadavers had to be moved to the nearest mass grave.
So you're ready to die?
No, I am not. I don't fear death, for I won't see it. What troubles me is the pain my death will inflict to those I know.
You're a wise man, Mr. Chidana.
No, Dr. Reed. I am a foolish man. But I like to think otherwise.
Do you really believe goodwill cannot last?
As I said, sir, everything decays. I was to never die. Goodness, I would be born.
How dare you steal from the dead, Rakesh? Is that what your pawnbrokers is really about?
These people are dead, sir. What they possessed could be useful for the living. And I'm sure they would agree if they could speak.
Stealing from the dead. Dr. Swansea should be informed.
No offense, sir, but Swansea is Dr. Swansea, one of my customers. And I'll help from time to time.
How dare...
Theories.
What do you think of Dr. Ackroyd's aversion to modern medical methods?
It's a shame he's so narrow-minded. Dr. Swansea taught me that science is about exploring uncharted territory. I'm convinced that's true.
With the influenza and all that's going on, you should put your differences aside, don't you think? Why is it so difficult to work together?
I believe that if Dr. Ackroyd had been the one to discover the transfusion process, he would be the first to recommend its use.
So you believe it's just a question of jealousy and pride?
Dr. Ackroyd is as proud as he is blinded by his obsolete concept of medical science. It has always been an honor to work with Dr. Swansea, but with your arrival, yes, maybe. I'm waiting for a batch of products I ordered for my personal research, yet my supplier seems to have vanished.
Do you want me to play the errand boy for you?
Oh no, Dr. Reed. But if you went personally to his shop, what with your reputation and all, he wouldn't dare to refuse the products I need.
I see. Well, give me the address, for I may pass by if I have time. Dick, it's a rare times.
I'm convinced that this epidemic is a test of endurance and dedication for us men of science.
Questions remain about our capacity to resolve the situation.
True, true. Last summer, during the first wave of the epidemic, I used to joke with Milton about the extra work. We're not smiling now.
Tell me more about your willingness to experiment with new medical techniques.
Harvey Fiddick is a patient suffering from a severe injury that could cripple him if not treated correctly. I'm convinced your blood transfusion technique could help him.
What is it you really want? To save him, or to prove your point?
Fair question. I want nothing but to save my patient, Dr. Reed. Especially since I know Mr. Fiddick's story.
Tell me Mr. Fiddick's story.
Our first diagnosis was compromised because Mr. Fiddick lied to us about the real origin of his injury. He first claimed it was an accident.
You must know that a good surgeon must remain neutral.
But that does not excuse Dr. Ackroyd's behavior. With desires and fears. Not some...
Scowl voices in the